As a proud representative of Speakers Lab, I'd like to take the next couple minutes to talk to you about tearing down and disiluding the idea of speech anxiety. It's something that plagues thousands and thousands of people across this world every day. It's commonly said that more people fear giving a public presentation than dying. And I'm here to tell you today that this should not be the case. It should not. And if it's the case for you, I hope that I can give a few helpful hints today on how you combat this and get this out of your mind and start giving successful presentations and being successful in communicating with people and communicating ideas to people in a classroom, in a business setting, in a professional setting. We will all be giving presentations at one point or another in our lives. So if you have speech anxiety, please take these words to heart because I truly think that it'll help you. I'll never forget when I was younger, when I was in high school, I was involved in a speech class, and this young man, he stepped up to the stage, and he had been telling me all semester. He said, "Chris," he said, "you know, I'm really nervous about public speaking. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this well." And I kept telling him and encouraging him, "It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay." I didn't believe that speech anxiety actually existed. Well, let me tell you, this young man got up in front of the class, his knees locked up, he turned as white as the blackboard behind me, and hit the ground about 2 minutes into the speech. I'll never forget that. It was very scary. So from then on, I committed myself to truly trying to dissolve the idea of speech anxiety and to help people when I could. So I'm going to be talking to you about 3 main points in the body of this presentation in regards to combating speech anxiety. First, I'm going to talk to you about breathing. It's very important. Secondly, I'm going to be talking to you about how to obtain a conversational tone within your speech if you have speech anxiety. And lastly, I'm going to be talking to you about eye contact, connecting with your audience, because of course we know that can make anybody anxious, and eye contact can just be uncomfortable sometimes and lead to bad things. So we'll talk about ways to dissolve that. So let's move on to my first main point, and that is breathing. Before you get up and you give a presentation of any kind, or even if you know you're going to answer a question in class, take a few deep breaths. Do that with me right now. Take 3 deep breaths. 1, 2, 3. Now, don't you feel better? I feel better. It's a scientifically proven fact that if you take that oxygen in and breathe out very slowly, that it will relax your nerves, it will slow your heart rate, and that's okay to even do up on stage when you're giving a presentation. A lot of times as Speakers Lab tutor, I'll hear students come in and they'll get so nervous and they'll just start saying This is verbal clutter. This is what speech anxiety does. If this ever happens, if you forget where you're at within a presentation, just stop. It's okay. You're in charge. You're in control. Take a deep breath, be silent, and go on with the presentation. Just 2 weeks ago in class, I'm a senior this year at Butler. I'm a communications major. I had to answer a question in class. I had the perfect answer to it. I got halfway through the question, and I just locked up. I quit talking. I couldn't remember, but I stayed silent. I didn't start saying I didn't start saying like. 30 seconds later, it came to me. I finished my answer, and I sat down. I still got an A on the project, so it worked out. Professors respect this. Business professionals respect this. So take the time to take a couple deep breaths before you get up on stage and while you're up on stage if you forget where you're at. Let's move on to my second main point, how to keep a conversational tone throughout your speech. A lot of times when people have speech anxiety, they get talking very fast. So their vocal rate increases dramatically. This is not good. This is not how we communicate effectively, if you will. So one tip I have for you in obtaining and maintaining a conversational tone within a presentation, never memorize word for word what you're going to say on stage. Never do this. Never do this. Memorize the outline of your presentation and then practice, 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 because practice does not make perfect, but it does make permanent. It's okay that while you're practicing the first, second, and third time, if your speech comes out a little bit differently every time, that's okay. That's just you being a human. You're having a conversation with somebody. Don't think of it as a presentation. Think of it as a conversation. So if you memorize your main points and you do not memorize your speech word for word, it may come out a little bit differently every time, but it will come out natural. It will flow well. It will feel like you're having a conversation with the members of the audience. They will appreciate that, you will appreciate that, and this is another great way to dissolve speech anxiety. Moving on to my last main point, eye contact. I know that when you're sitting in a room with somebody, if you're in a one-on-one interview with somebody, if you're giving a presentation in front of the class, having to look someone right in the eyes, that'll get your heart going sometimes. Think about that. It really increases anxiety in a human being. So what I do sometimes, and especially what I did when I was first giving speeches, I would not look someone right in the eye or my audience right in the eye. I would look just over the top of their head, or maybe at their left ear, or maybe at their forehead. So it still looked as though I was looking them right in the eye, but I really wasn't. This kept my anxiety down and kept my speech flowing well. It's something you might want to try out sometime. I definitely think it'll help with your speech anxiety. So in closing, today we've talked about 3 main points in regards to speech anxiety. First, we've talked about letting yourself breathe. Breathe before you get up there, and while you're up there, if you forget where you're at, it's okay to take another breath. Secondly, we've talked about ways to keep a conversational tone. Keep your presentation flowing in a nice, smooth manner. Don't memorize it word for word. Memorize that outline. And lastly, we talked about eye contact. You don't have to look someone directly in the eye. Look just over their head, at their forehead, at their ear, even at their nose. This will look as if you're still looking them right in the eye, but yet you're not, and will keep your anxiety low. If you utilize these tips effectively, I believe it will dissolve your speech anxiety. You will be a more effective communicator. You will relay your thoughts in a positive and smooth manner. If you have any other questions, feel free to come up to Speakers Lab at any time in the Fairbanks building. My name is Chris McBarnes. It's been a pleasure talking with you today. I hope you have a great day, night, or evening. Thank you.